The hidden impact of light is your circadian rhythm at risk. Melanopic EDI is a method to measure how much electric lighting affects our circadian rhythm. But why is it relevant? Light is as fundamental to our lives as water, food, and air. Since the dawn of time, the Earth has followed the same rhythm where the day begins when the sun rises and ends when the sun sets. Everything on Earth depends on this rhythm, including us humans, who are biologically coded to follow it. For a long time, science believed that it was the human visual sense that detected when it was day and night. However, an experiment with blind people changed that belief. Surprisingly, the experiment showed that it is not the visual sense of the eye that determines the circadian rhythm, but rather our biological sense. Just like our ears are responsible for both hearing and balance, our eyes regulate both our visual sight and our circadian rhythm. Inside the eye are special light-sensitive cells called Ipperg cells. When the cells are exposed to bright daylight, they send signals to a small center in the brain that it is day and time to be active. As light fades throughout the afternoon and evening, the cells instead signal to the brain that night is approaching, and it's time to rest and sleep. Our circadian rhythm is regulated by these microscopic cells in our eyes, but this rhythm also controls nearly all physiological processes in the body. Therefore, a stable circadian rhythm is essential for human life and health, but proper anchoring of this rhythm only happens when we receive the right light at the right time. From an evolutionary perspective, humans need bright light during the day and darkness at night to function properly. But there's a problem. Today, we spend over 90% of our time indoors, which poses a challenge to our circadian rhythm. The issue arises because we mostly inhabit spaces with static electric lighting that remains the same color and intensity throughout the day. In other words, the lighting we are exposed to is designed to meet visual needs rather than biological ones. Our visual and biological needs, however, are very different. Humans do not necessarily need bright light during the day to see and navigate buildings, especially if there are many windows letting in plenty of natural light. Biologically, however, we often need much more and much brighter light than is typically installed. At night, the opposite is true. We need enough light to see in the spaces we occupy, but biologically, we require very little to no light. Indoors, this means that our body often lacks sufficient light during the day and is exposed to excessive light in the evening and at night. This happens because lighting is designed solely for our visual needs, not our biological needs. Also cannot ignore that most people tend to turn off the lights during the day and turn them on in the evening and nighttime, which is in sharp contrast to the natural environment, where it's light during the day and dark at night. The rhythm we should be following. As a result, we often find ourselves in the unfortunate situation where the indoor lighting we use during the day isn't enough to signal to our body that it is daytime. Nor do we spend enough time outdoors for our body to receive signals from the sun's rays. In the evening, however, there is so much light in the spaces we occupy that our body becomes uncertain whether it is truly nighttime. This delays and degrades sleep and make the body less efficient at coordinating all the vital processes. All of this happens because we now spend so much time indoors that our body no longer receives the essential rhythm from daylight, and static indoor lighting makes the situation even worse. Melanopic EDI enables us to become aware of the unconscious effect light has on our circadian rhythm. Even though we are not aware of the constant regulation of our circadian rhythm happening in our brain and body, we still feel the consequences when the rhythm is disrupted. A group of 248 scientists believe that LED lighting with a high 460-495 nm blue content should carry a warning label as it can be harmful when used at night. The serious consequences include an increased risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and various cancers. Static lighting reduces performance. Evidence-based circadian lighting can boost performance by 2.5%. With poor static lighting, the risk of headaches, migraines, and absenteeism increases. Evidence-based circadian lighting can reduce absenteeism by up to 21%. This is why it is crucial to integrate knowledge about our biology and circadian rhythm when designing lighting in built environments. By using Melanopic EDI in lighting implementation, we can create lighting environments that support not only our visual needs, but also our biological ones, which are essential for our health and well-being.